Hey friends, I wanted to take a moment to tell you about my new book, Negotiation Made Simple. For the past 20 years, I have helped business people put together important deals, lawyers settle big lawsuits, small business owners grow their business by getting the most value for their product possible. And through this, I've learned a process on how to use negotiation to deliver outstanding deals. This particular book is those 20 years and everything I've learned about negotiation that's packaged in a very practical guide for solving problems, building relationships, and delivering the next deal. I hope you will jump in, buy this book, read this book, put it to work, and in doing so, you will be equipped to get better negotiation outcomes and to get what you want, not only in business, but in life as well. Go purchase Negotiation Made Simple wherever you buy books and use 2024 as an opportunity to take your next step in your negotiation success. Welcome to Negotiation Made Simple, where we help you master the art of negotiation and win the next deal. I'm your host, John Lowry. I'm excited about today's episode. We are going to jump into a topic of extreme relevance, yet one that a lot of people are very nervous about. And it is how AI will impact negotiation. It is one of the most common questions that I get asked. And I'm excited about spending some time just to provide some introductory thoughts for how negotiators out there can use AI without putting any information out there that's inappropriate, without turning over everything to AI, but to use it as a thought partner. There is tremendous opportunity for AI to help you become a better negotiator, and I'm eager to tell you how. Let's jump into this conversation about the impact of AI on negotiation. I'm really excited about this episode today. I think it's going to be one of many on this subject matter. This is a question that I get all the time in almost every training, after almost every speech. Someone asks, what will be the impact of AI on negotiation? And it is a great question, and it's one that, quite honestly, no one knows the answer to. There are a lot of people that have ideas. There are a lot of folks that are pursuing commercial opportunities, trying to apply AI to negotiation. There's a lot of great thinking being done around it. But the reality is that no one knows exactly what negotiation looks like in 5 or 10 years once you fully implement AI. What I can say is this, and that is that to have this conversation, you do have to have some historical context. And the reality is that AI, as we know it today, is not actually new. What is new is the ability for the consumer to engage AI and use AI on an easier, more ready basis. But the idea of AI and using AI to analyze data, using AI to create algorithms that can provide predictive insights, that is something that is not new. That has been around actually for decades. And in the negotiation space, it is not new either. So for example, there are products that the insurance industry uses that will take all of the information from a car accident, will plug that information in the venue where the car accident occurred. And in that venue, it will analyze the losses. It will look at liability, and in that venue, considering the verdicts and the settlements that come out of those areas, it will spit out a number that is the value of the case. That is an example of an AI type tool that has been developed that is seeking to be predictive in terms of helping people understand, in this case, the value of a car accident. And so lots of those things are happening. There's lots of AI that is happening in terms of the automotive field, in terms of the value of a car, where the same kind of thing is happening It's just predicting value based upon past sales and information. And if you follow any car salesman or anything like that, you will see that part of their process is to go to the computer to figure out what the value of a car is, whether it's a new car or a used car or a car being traded in. All those tools are already at play, and that information absolutely 100% impacts the negotiation. But the question that I get asked, and I think this answer is clear, is will AI make it no longer necessary for negotiation to exist? And that answer is simply no. And the reason is because AI doesn't fulfill some of the psychological needs that we as people have that the negotiation process does fulfill. And so this need to win, this need for some level of psychological satisfaction that comes from getting to the deal, managing expectations, all of those things, they can't be satisfied with AI. And so the way I like to describe it is negotiation has two aspects. It has a substantive aspect, and then it has a process aspect. The substantive aspect asks, what is the right answer? The process aspect asks, how do I get the other side to the right answer? Or how do I get all the parties to the right answer? Notice with me, AI is going to be very disruptive and very impactful in the substantive aspect of negotiation. We will have more information, be able to analyze more information as a result of AI that is going to give us more specificity in terms of the substance of a negotiation. Where I think AI has a long way to go is in the process part of the negotiation. Because the process, this is where you bring in neuroscience. This is where you bring in social psychology. This is where you bring in ego and fear and all of these things that are more abstract. They're more human. They're more part of kind of who we are. And I don't know if AI, just by giving us the answer, actually satisfies all those things. Yeah. So in the insurance industry that introduced all of these software platforms, those industries still exist. Negotiation in those industries still exists. There is still personal injury litigation. There is still coverage disputes that happen. The fact that we have all of this additional information and now have the tools to analyze it doesn't mean that that type of dispute is forever going to go away. And there will still need to be people such as plaintiffs' attorneys and insurance adjusters and defense attorneys that need to come together to work through the negotiation process to resolve these disputes. So the question that I'm really excited about getting to is this question of, well, how can AI help me as a negotiator? And this is where I think we're a little off in terms of the thinking, at least where AI exists right now. And so much of the focus that I see right now is, again, trying to use AI as a tool to figure out the substantive part of negotiation, to try to figure out what the value really is, to try to understand markets and understand comparables and things like that. And to get that data and to use that data to really come up with the right answer. There is going to be a ton of applications of this, and I think there's great room for those applications to be able to add value in this process. However, I don't think it'll make the process go away. And so the question then is, as a negotiator, how do I use AI, but use it in such a way that it helps me get what I want to get in the process? And this is where we have to begin thinking about how do we use AI to help us make strategic decisions in terms of how we get what we want in a negotiation. Now, the value component, that can help us make strategic decisions, but I'm thinking deeper than that. What do we do when we have someone on the other side of the table who is very combative and very difficult to deal with. You may have the right answer all day long, but they're not going to accept it because of how they're inclined to behave. And there's still going to be a challenge for you, and they still can become a barrier to the deal just because of who they are and the style that they bring. I actually think AI, from a negotiation standpoint, the biggest value that it brings is being an incredible thought partner. It's not going to tell you the answer. It's not going to always be right, but it's going to be a great thought partner. So, for example, this is where I've seen AI used and used really effectively. And as a result of that, this is where I think it can become an incredible negotiation tool. So, there was a company here in Nashville, Tennessee. This company is working on one of the biggest projects here in Nashville. And the company was getting ready to go and make a proposal to the mayor of Nashville, to other public officials, as well as the interested private parties that are working on this major development. And what this company did was, in preparation for the presentation that it was going to make, it began asking AI all sorts of different questions. And so it asked AI about, what was the latest issue that the mayor of Nashville was dealing with? And it asked AI, this particular company, like what is going on and what are the projects that this company is working on? What that provided at the first level was some context so that the people could walk in and could engage with the people that they were presenting to. And immediately here AI helped build rapport. And building rapport and building likability, that can be very influential in the context of negotiation, because we know that likability causes people to do things that are irrational, to where they will select wanting to do business with you because they like you, even if you're not necessarily the lowest price, or even if you don't have the strongest reputation in the field. That's how you overcome it. And AI is a tool for accomplishing that. But then this company, I think very wisely, also began asking AI about what are the questions that these people who represent these stakeholders and these viewpoints, what are the questions that they're going to ask us? And AI spit out a bunch of questions. And those questions helped this company anticipate the questions that would be asked in the meeting so that they could, in some cases, answer those questions up front, but in other cases, have talking points and be ready to answer those questions should they arise in the meeting. An incredible preparation tool. Then the company asked AI, what do we think will be some of the barriers that keep people from wanting to choose us? And here AI spit out some ideas about why this company may not be as well positioned as some other companies, or why these stakeholders may be concerned about this company. And so there, already this company was beginning to think about how it would overcome its objections in terms of winning this business and getting this deal. Now, notice that none of that really had anything to do with the actual substance of the proposal, but it really had to do with the process in terms of the interaction that would take place, the communication that would take place, the questioning, the problem solving. But because the company was intentional to engage AI up front, what it learned is that it was much more prepared for the process as it ensued. And as a result of that, the company did quite well. In fact, what the company learned was that 7 of the 8 questions that AI anticipated would be asked actually got asked in the meeting. That's pretty good. Now, the nice thing about doing this is that AI is just a thought partner. So in doing this, you don't have to put into AI any proprietary information. Whether it's your information or the potential client's information, you don't have to do anything that risks confidentiality in any way. The other thing is, whatever AI presents back to you in the form of questions that might be asked or objections that might be raised, you don't have to do anything with that if you don't want to. You get to use your own human ingenuity and your own human wisdom to determine what questions that AI asks, what are legitimate and what are not. What do I need to be prepared for and what do I not need to be prepared for? And as a result of that, you are not totally dependent upon AI, but you get the benefit of AI. And so this example right here, this is an outstanding example of where I think AI can provide immediate, useful value in the context of negotiation. All right, so as many of you know, I spend a lot of my time negotiating in the legal context. And so one of the ways that I have started using AI is in the selection of a mediator. Now, that's a really important moment in a piece of litigation. About 98% of all cases are going to get settled. Most of that's going to happen through mediation. And so the selection of the mediator is a really important moment in the life of a case. And it's one that I don't think people are strategic enough about. And so many times mediators get selected because they're familiar, because people have a relationship with them or know them or have used them in the past. But what gets missed in that process is matching the style of the mediator to the needs of the case. And that's where AI can be very useful. And so what I'll do is I'll simply ask AI, tell me the style of mediators, and it'll lay those out. And then I'll ask it, tell me what style of mediator I should look for with a case that has these elements. And I may put in some of the facts of the case very generically, again, not providing AI with any confidential information at all, but just giving a generic description of what's going on. And then I may throw in some of the barriers to settlement. I may throw in some of the challenges that exist that I foresee existing in the negotiation. And then AI is going to come back with a recommendation and saying, you might consider using this mediator because, and then I'll think about that. And in some cases, I agree with it, and in some cases, I don't. But engaging AI puts me through a strategy process that I find to be a very useful process. And AI is just a great tool to engage to kind of move through that process. So that's one of the ways that I've used it. In the business front, another way that I've used it is in helping companies that are seeking to raise capital. And that's something I don't do a lot of, but there are moments where people will call me and say, hey, John, here's what I'm trying to do. Can you provide any consulting help in terms of what we do? And so as a result of that, I will engage AI and I'll say, here's the company, here's what it's trying to do, here's its growth plan, here's the capital that it needs. And then I'll just simply ask AI, what would cause an investor to want to invest in this company, or what would cause an investor to not want to invest in this company? And AI is going to lay out, here are the strengths that would cause an investor to want to invest. So I know then what we need to build on in terms of the pitch. And then here are some of the concerns that investors will have. And here's what I know that we need to kind of shore up in terms of the pitch. And so again, I'm not asking AI to do this for me or to come up with a valuation of the company or to tell us how much investment we can go get or anything like that. All I'm simply doing is engaging AI to better position the company to be able to pull down some investment dollars and to help me think through the process so that I can then advise the company accordingly. Now, you might ask the question, well, John, from a consulting standpoint, if the company can do that with AI, why does it need you? Well, there is still a human element that AI can't provide. So for example, when AI says you need to look at a private equity firm that is this size and has this level of focus, AI is not yet at a place to where it's able to identify and network you into that firm. That still requires the human element. And so AI can't do that. And that's where I come in terms of being able to say, okay, if this is our strategy, if this is our approach that we all agree to, and maybe AI helped us inform that, but it becomes our strategy and our approach, then the execution of it is something that still requires kind of the human element. And so you see here, AI is going to be a player. I heard someone say, and I love this quote, I think it was the CEO of HarperCollins, and I heard this at a conference a couple of weeks ago. But the quote is something along these lines. Let me paraphrase because I may not get it exactly right, but it was something along the lines of AI won't replace human workers. Human workers who use AI will replace human workers. And so if you take that idea, I think it's a really powerful idea that lots of people, and I hear this all too often from leaders, and it's really discouraging, to where I hear leaders say, well, we can't control, we don't know enough about it, we still have concerns with AI, and so we've just instructed our people not to use it. Absolutely, put guardrails around it. Create policies that govern it. Don't do things that you're uncomfortable with, but do not give a blanket, we're just not going to use it. The best way to learn AI is to begin playing with it. And it's free. And so go to ChatGPT, go to Claude, go to one of these AI tools and just start messing around with it. Before I ever used it in a professional context, I remember the first time I used AI was to help my wife put together a syllabus for a college course that she was teaching. She got this dropped on her at the very last minute. She literally had 3 days to put together a syllabus for a course, and she had nothing. It was not an ideal moment. The college gave her 2 textbooks that were already in the bookstore, and so she had to use these 2 textbooks. And she had to develop a course based upon these 2 books that she hadn't read. And she had to get the syllabus out in like 12 hours. And she was freaking out. And so as a result of that, all I did was say, Melissa, let's throw it into AI. And so we say, build a 14-week college curriculum for a class that meets twice a week that is based upon whatever the subject matter is, that is using these 2 books as a text. And in less than 30 seconds, her syllabus was, I would say, 80% complete. It wasn't perfect, but it was pretty close to help her get that done in 10 hours or so. And so the thing that AI will do that I think can help all of us in the negotiation process is it can help us expedite it if we're willing to engage it. But I'm concerned about leaders that are instructing people, don't engage, don't use. That's not how we're going to get better. That's not how we're going to advance. The way that we're going to advance is by putting it to work and playing with it a little bit, but not putting our wisdom aside, not putting our intellect aside, not putting our critical thinking aside, to use that as we engage with AI, but to see if AI can help us be more efficient, to see if AI can help us think about some things we may not think about. To see if AI can give us some insights or some perspective that we may not have. That's a great way to use it. And so I would encourage you as you prepare for your next negotiation, and as questions begin to come through your mind about how you're going to handle the process, I would encourage you just to use AI as a thought partner. Just throw those questions in and see what it says. And I think if your experience is anything like mine, AI is not going to give you the perfect answer. It's not going to give you the complete package. It's not going to make the need for you and your thought process go away, but it is going to inform it. It is going to make it better. And I think it will help you save a lot of time. So again, AI is not going away. AI is here to stay. This is the first of what I anticipate to be many conversations about how we can use AI to become better negotiators and to get more of what we want in life and in business. Well, I think this is going to be the beginning of a long conversation that may never end, quite honestly, about how AI and technology will impact negotiation. It's a great subject matter. It's one worthy of a lot of thought, a lot of debate. And hopefully, this conversation that we've had in this episode is a great starting point for you. And hopefully, as a result of this conversation, you will be courageous enough to start playing around with AI and to begin exploring how AI can help you become a better negotiator. I think there's value in AI that exists today. I think there's a way to extract that value without all of the concerns or the risk of AI being realized. And I would encourage you right now to pause what you're doing, to go take a look at a ChatGPT or a Claude or whatever AI service that you want to use, and just begin throwing in some questions and having some conversation and engaging and interacting with AI, especially as it relates to how you're putting deals together or how you're solving problems. It's a tremendous tool. I've extracted value from it, and I think you can too. Thanks for listening to Negotiation Made Simple. This episode right here was a result of a question, in fact, a question that many people ask. If you've got a question about negotiation, I hope that you'll send it to me. Send it to admin@lowrygroup.net. And if you'll send that question, I'm eager to read those questions. I love doing episodes based on the questions that I get, and I wish you the best in all of your negotiations. Don't forget, Negotiation Made Simple is sold where all of the books are sold. Anywhere you buy books, you can find it there. I would encourage you to go check it out at your earliest convenience. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode.